Editing 360 footage can look amazing when it's done right, but if it's not, all of that creative filming goes to waste. So in this video, I'm going to show you how you can take your raw 360 clips, edit them properly, and add music and sound effects to create an engaging sequence that actually looks good and feels immersive. But before we do that, let me show you what we're going to be building, and when we come back, I'll simplify the whole process so that you can create something similar. Let's take a look. Okay, so everything you just saw was captured on this. This is the Insta360 X5, an 8K pocket-sized 360 camera, which, as you can see, delivers incredible results. In last week's video, I showed you how to capture your shots, and in this week's video, we're going to be focusing on the edit. A big thanks to Epidemic Sound for sponsoring this video. This is where I'll be going to get all of my music and sound effects to really help bring this sequence to life. Now, to simplify the process, we're going to break it down into 4 steps, starting with editing your 360 videos. Okay, so once you've shot all of your footage, you'll be left with a ton of files that look strange, kind of warped fisheye videos. And you can't just play these like traditional clips. There's an extra step. So first, you must edit your 360 videos into something that looks usable. And to do this, I'm going to import them into my 360 editing software. And in this case, I'm going to be using Insta360 Studio because I shot my footage using an Insta360 camera. Now, this software is completely free, it's compatible with both Mac and PC, and it's surprisingly powerful. It's one of the best editing softwares when it comes to 360 video. Now, with my clips now imported, I can click on each one and basically edit them however I like. And this is where the magic of reframing comes in. The beauty of shooting in 360 is that you can point the camera in any direction you want after you've shot it. So we can tilt the camera up, we can pan left or right, and we can look anywhere during the clip. Now, our goal here is to create usable shots out of all of this footage. And the one skill that you really do need to master when it comes to 360 video is keyframing. Now, a keyframe is just a marker that you place on your timeline that tells the software at this exact moment, I want the camera to look exactly like this. So look, let's use a shot of me on a bike as an example. Now, when I captured this shot, I did have this shot in mind. So the idea was I wanted the camera to start by looking up at this building and then tilt down to reveal me riding the bike. So to do this, all I need to do is start by pointing the camera up at these buildings and then click on this little plus icon to add a keyframe. A yellow diamond pops up on the timeline, and now all I need to do is slide the playhead forward just a few seconds and then drag the camera down to my new position on the bike and then add a second keyframe. Now, when we play this back, we get a smooth tilt down as I'm riding. Now, the software does all of the heavy lifting here, creating a fluid motion between the first and the second keyframe. And if I did want to refine the smoothness and the motion, then you can just click on this yellow line between the 2 keyframes and add a fade in or a fade out or anything I like. So do be sure to experiment with the smoothness and the motion between your 2 keyframes. Now, if you wanted the tilt to be a bit quicker, then you simply move the keyframes closer together. Or if you wanted it to be slower, we move them further apart. Everything is built on this very simple idea. So I'm just going to go through all of these clips, adding keyframes, adjusting the framing and the composition to basically create the best shots I can using the footage that I have. Thinking like a director. Now, by far, one of the best things about shooting in 360 is the amount of shot options. With traditional video, your shot is your shot, but with every clip you film in 360, you get multiple shots. So, for example, with this shot of me riding the bike, I could have it facing towards me, facing the road. I can have it pan left to right to show the environment. I could even get really creative and add this tiny planet effect. I could also change the aspect ratio, and this bit is incredibly useful. So, for example, this video is for YouTube, so I've got it in 16:9. But if I wanted to share one of these clips on Instagram, for example, I simply press 9:16 and we now have a vertical version of this clip. Incredibly useful. Now, my ultimate goal here is to go through each of these clips and pick out only the best parts that I feel will work well in a sequence. So look, let's pick out a few of the clips from that opening sequence and I'll show you exactly how I edited them. Let's start off with the opening shot, this POV shot as I walk through the underground. Now, I shot this using a chest mount. It was really easy to capture, and I started with the camera facing down at my feet as I was walking. I then added a keyframe to tilt up. Now look, when you add a keyframe in Insta360 Studio, you get this box with options. You've got Mega, Ultra, and D-Warp, which essentially changes the focal length of your shot. Mega is nice and wide. It gives your footage that sort of curvy feel, which some people don't like. It's personal preference. And then you've got D-Warp, which is much more cropped in, and it removes that warped 360 look. Now, next, we cut to a follow shot of me from behind, which I got by hanging the camera over my shoulder on an extension pole. Now, to keep me in the center of frame for this shot, I used subject tracking within the software. So instead of consistently adding keyframes to keep me centered, I simply selected the tracker button, drew a box around myself, and then hit start tracking. The software then keeps me in the center of frame automatically. It's super easy, saves a ton of time, and works on all types of shots. Now, for the shot where I walk out of the subway at Westminster and the camera turns to reveal Big Ben, I simply just keyframed the shot to start on me and then turn towards the landmark as I walked. Now, what you may have noticed here is that when the camera turns, the shot blurs a little bit. Now, that's because I added motion blur, which is something that you can do right here in the software. It just helps emphasize the camera movement and makes your shot look a bit more interesting. Now, for this shot here, pulling through this videographer's arms and up into the sky, there were many different ways that I could have edited this shot. This is Wukas, by the way. He helped me shoot behind the scenes this day and helped me pull off some of the crazy shot ideas that I had. Thanks, mate. Now, just to show how important the editing side of 360 video is here is that shot facing towards me without any music or sound effects. Yeah, terrible, right? Completely unusable. Plus, I look like a maniac man holding an extension pole. But if we bring that exact same clip back into the edit, frame it facing the other way, and add a rotation, as well as some motion blur, we now have this. So as you can see, a huge improvement completely changes that shot. It basically takes it from a terrible and unusable one to one of the best shots of the sequence. So understanding how to edit your 360 video and having a shot in mind during the filming process is really going to help level up your videos. So once you've been through all of your clips, you've added your keyframes, you've changed the focal length, you've added motion blur if you've needed to, you've exported them into a folder, you're now ready for the next step, which is creating the sequence. Now at this stage, import all of your edited 360 clips into your chosen software. My personal preference is Final Cut Pro because I'm using a Mac, but you can use pretty much any software you like. DaVinci Resolve is great free editing software and available for both Mac and PC. Now, once my clips are imported, the first thing that I like to do is choose my music. And this is usually based on two things. The first is the mood that I'm looking to create, and the second is the duration. Now for this edit, I wanted something that was was upbeat, something restless, something that I could cut to with a good variety of clips. So for this, I headed over to Epidemic Sound because not only do they have a huge archive of music, but they also make finding exactly what you're looking for incredibly easy. Then once I found what I liked, in this case a track called Touché by Tiger Blood, I then went over to their brand new feature called Adapt, and this is by far one of my favorite features because it massively speeds up the editing process. For example, check this out. The track Touché is 2 minutes and 23 seconds long, which is just way too long for the edit that I'm looking to create. So this is where Adapt comes in. I can simply type into this little box here 60 seconds, and Epidemic Sound will now give me multiple versions of this track that are all around about 60 seconds long. I don't need to faff about editing a 3-minute track, cutting out the middle, chopping off the end, and trying to match the end of the edit with the end of the track. All of that has now been done for me at the click of a button. So an incredibly useful feature, one of many great features within Epidemic Sound that helps make finding music and editing your videos so much easier. If you want to try Epidemic Sound for free, which I highly recommend by the way, I've been using them for years, I will put a link in the description below. Okay, so now that I have my track, I can drop it onto my timeline and place all of my edited clips on top. I've got way more than 60 seconds worth of clips, so now I need to go through each of them, trimming them down and picking out only the best bits. I'm also looking to cut these on impactful beats of the track because this is really satisfying for the audience. I'm also looking to mix these shots up, so I don't just want shot after shot of me, for example. I want to cut between a POV shot, an over the shoulder shot, a shot looking up, a fake drone shot. This is going to help make the edit feel much more interesting and really help hold people's attention. Okay, step 4, the final polish and export. Okay, now once you have all of your clips in an order that you're happy with and they're cut to the beat of the music, it's time to add sound effects and color grading. Now, sound effects can really help bring a sequence like this to life. I like to use a combination of sounds recorded on the day combined with added sound effects where needed. Now, you can go as heavy or as light as you like with this. I kept it relatively simple with this edit. Throughout this whole 60-second sequence, I only used 9 sound effects. Now, the way that I chose these sound effects was to simply watch the sequence through with the original audio enabled, and then I just took notes on where I thought might need a little bit of extra help to add a bit more life and make the sequence more immersive. For example, this opening POV shot where the camera tilts up just felt a little bit flat. So I simply added a whoosh sound effect to help emphasize the movement. Then when I came out at Westminster Station and looked up at Big Ben, this also just felt like it needed a little bit extra. So I added the chime of Big Ben as well as the sound of London buses. I wanted this part to feel quite loud and chaotic. We have this hyperlapse shot, and then we cut to this shot of a red double-decker bus pulling through the arms. Now, I really felt that this shot just needed a little bit extra. So I added the sound effect of a passing bus as well as another whoosh sound effect. The sequence then ends with a riser sound effect. This really helped make the end feel a bit more impactful. All of these sound effects, by the way, came from Epidemic Sound. So not only is it a great place to get professional sounding music that you can tailor exactly how you like for your projects, but they also have a huge amount of sound effects, which, as you can see, really help bring your videos to life. And finally, I just wanted to stylize this footage a little bit more, just to make it feel a little less like 360 video. So I added some cinematic bars and a simple color grade using one of my custom LUTs. A LUT is basically a color grading preset that instantly gives your footage a more cinematic feel. The LUT that I used for this edit was my Blockbuster LUT. I will link that below. So that's how you take all of your 360 clips and turn them into an engaging sequence just like that. I do hope you found this video useful. If you did, let me know by giving it the old thumbs up. If you'd like to learn more about filming in 360, then be sure to check out this video here where I break down 10 creative shots that will instantly level up your videos. But that's it from me. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.